Hi guys, welcome back to the Fit for Fresh. My name is Sarah Martinez. I'm a health coach and weight loss specialist. I use the 3 pillars of health and wellness, nutrition, fitness, and motivation to help my clients create a healthy lifestyle while still enjoying the things that make them happy. Every week I do a new topic just for this episodic here on YouTube, and today is one of my favorites. Do I say that every time? I might. And the topic today that we wanted to discuss is, how many calories should I eat? This is a number one question I get asked by clients, by people on the street, when people find out I'm a personal trainer or health coach. This is always the question on people's minds. If I just knew how many calories I should eat, everything would be magically okay. Let's figure out if we can get to the bottom of this. Let's do it. All right, as usual, let's do the thing. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, especially if it's something that you found useful, and of course, ask questions. So today's topic, how many calories should I eat? Oh my gosh, this is the number one question. It's because I feel like we think that if we knew a magic single number, we could adjust everything and just make it happen, right? You just know 1,500 calories. That's how many calories I should eat. Everything's gonna be great from here. But the reality is there's so many factors that go into weight gain, weight loss. So it gets to be a very confusing subject, right? It's like, okay, well, one thing says I should eat this many calories, another thing says I should eat this many calories. It really is just this balancing act. So there is an easy way to figure this out, and I'm going to help you with it today in 5 steps. So before we jump into step number 1, I just kind of want to address a little bit of an elephant in the room when it comes to how many calories you should eat and how many you should burn. You know, what goes into creating, that simple number that's for everyone? Well, here's the thing. There really isn't a simple number for everybody because everybody is different and unique. And that's why when you Google something like, how many calories should I eat? You might see a lot of conflicting information. You might see some that's very similar. But to really pinpoint what works for you is always going to be a little different from each person. One thing that really makes a difference, gender. Men are going to burn calories different than women. So men have more muscle mass typically. And because of that, they're going to burn more calories. It means they're going to be able to eat more calories as well. So that process is going to be different between men and women. Age. As we get older, our metabolism slows down. So sometimes age determines as we get older, we can't eat as many calories because gradually and just because of normal human development, we have a slower metabolism as you get older. So that's why diet has to change as your age changes. Body composition. You know, some people are very tall and have more athletic build, and then some people are a little rounder. And a lot of this has to do with just how your body is put together. And it also determines how your body's going to burn fat and hold on to fat. So that's going to be another determining factor. Activity level. Do you work out? Do you just sit at home all day? All these things, they are part of the process of really trying to dig in to how many calories you can burn or how many calories you can eat. The last thing is genetics. Some people just have naturally higher metabolisms. Right? Not me, but some people do, you know? So if your genetics lends itself to being able to burn more calories or be able to take in more calories and burn them naturally, you're going to have a different calorie count than somebody who has a much harder time, slower metabolism, all that good stuff. So all these factors come into play, which is what makes that single number that's going to solve all your problems more complicated. Step number 1 is the most important step. You can't do any other step before you do step number 1. Step number 1 might even take a little bit of time before you can really dig into it. Because what you need to do for step number 1 is figure out how many calories you are eating now. This is an important step. I mean, I could tell you right now, only eat this many calories. But the truth is, until you know where you are now, the journey to get to that calorie count that is your ideal calorie count, you're never going to want to jump from one to the next. So if I just said eat 1,500 calories a day, but right now you're eating 3,000 calories a day, that means you're going to have to cut your diet in half. For most people, that's a dramatic cut. Now, we might be able to sustain that for a little while, but until you create the habits to be able to get yourself to that low of a calorie count, you're never going to be able to sustain it. It's going to be very easy for your body to jump back to where you were once you're done with whatever diet you're on. So the first step to understanding how many calories you should eat starts with how many calories am I eating now? What that also means is you got to be honest with yourself. You got to take a look at your diet. You got to count every single thing. So this is a little bit of accountability. You have to write down all the food you're eating. You have to write down the snacks you're having. You have to write down even your water intake. Understand what you are putting in your body. Most of the time, and I'm just going to give you this little secret, and you're not even paying me for it. Most of the time, that solves a lot of problems for my clients. Just the awareness factor, knowing what you're doing, going, oh my God, I didn't realize I snack so much. Oh my God, I didn't realize that cheese was that many calories. Oh my goodness, I love peanut butter, but I'm eating 500 calories a day in peanut butter. These little realizations are going to come with awareness, logging, and looking at step number one here, how many calories and how much physical activity am I already getting? Step two, understand the estimated ranges of calories that you would want to look at per gender. Now, gender is probably one of the most distinguishing qualities because in general, men tend to be able to consume and burn more calories and women less. I know. Wah, wah. However, it is important to know those ranges. Again, it doesn't pinpoint where you should be in that range, but it gives you an outline idea of maybe where you should start your thought process and maybe a place where you might end it. So though these are estimated amounts, it kind of gives you a little bit of a box idea of where you might want to be. So once you use the awareness factor, you know how many calories you're eating now. Now you can take a look and say, okay, well, how do I start to adjust it and get myself within this range? Maybe you're already in that range, but now you want to start to inch yourself to the lower end of the range. Maybe you are way outside of it and you need to really pull it back to at least get yourself started in the right direction. So for men, you're going to be looking at somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 calories. Now, this is the idea from the age of like 20 to 80 on both the men and women. Obviously, if you're younger, you're going to be having more energy. You're going to need more calories, so you're going to be able to eat more. Whereas as you get older, or maybe you're less active, you're going to be on the lower end. Now, just remember that these numbers again are estimations, and it's based off of just years and years of data. But data changes, right? So numbers change. The real key is using this as a boundary. Step number 3: how much weight do you want to lose? Now, here's the thing: be realistic. All right. I know that in our mind we think, oh, I think I could probably lose 30 pounds. But in reality, that may not be how much fat you need to lose. It kind of depends on your body, your needs. So the question really is, how much weight do I need to lose? Be realistic with your expectations. And, you can always change again. You could get to your goal weight, feel successful. Wow, I did it. And then make a new goal, right? All right, step number 4 is all about the science. So let's talk about this for a second. 1 pound of fat is equivalent to 3,500 calories. So let's think about this for a second. 3,500 calories is equivalent to 1 pound of fat. Okay, so theoretically, as you are, moving through a week, if your daily intake is 3,500 calories a day, no wonder you're gaining weight, right? Or maintaining a very much heavier weight. So how do you start to lose that? Well, let's think about calories as a weekly event rather than a daily event. I think a lot of times we think, oh, it's 8 a.m., therefore I'm like refreshed and I'm back down to 0 calories, new day, new opportunity, right? To a certain extent, that's true, but your body doesn't necessarily work in 24-hour periods. Your body is going to work more over a 7-day period of time. You're going to have a more accurate view of what your body can handle. Let's say it this way. If you eat a lot of calories on Monday, you don't feel those calories right away. You feel them 2 or 3 days later, right? That's when you're like, oh, I feel a little bloated. I feel like my pants don't fit right. It's never immediate. It takes a while for your body to adjust. So if you take a 3,500 calorie pound and you want to lose 1 pound a week, what are we going to do? Step 5 is what we're going to do. We're going to figure out 500 calories per day that you can take off of what you're already eating. This is step 5. once you have the information of how many calories you're eating per day, now you can say, okay, I'm just going to shave 500 calories off my normal diet. So suppose your normal diet is 2,500 calories a day. Instead of saying, I got to get all the way to 1,500 and I'm just going to go crazy and do it all. Think of it more like I'm going to go 2,500 calories and I'm just going to shave off 500. So now I'm going to eat 2,000 calories a day. Now you can keep that as your normal routine until you feel like you want to jumpstart it a little bit more. Then you're going to have to find a new way to do that. So let's talk about that. How do you decrease 500 calories a day? Some of you might be like, oh my God, that's like a full meal per day. Essentially, you could think of it that way, but the idea is you don't want to cut into your meals, right? But you could shave off 100 calories there, 150 calories here, and find those 500 calories throughout the day without really digging in too deep onto a full meal. For example, a Snickers bar is 215 calories. So if you're eating a candy bar in the middle of your day as either a way to satiate a snack or just because you like sugar, that is something that you could cut out, and you've already cut out half of what you need to cut for a single day to maintain that 1 pound a week fat loss. A bagel is 245 calories. So if you're starting your morning off with a morning bagel, and typically it's never just a bagel, right? It's bagel, cream cheese, or butter, or whatever it is. So that 245 calorie meal is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Turning it into something like a couple eggs and spinach, or even just a piece of toast and some eggs. So there's other options you can do to lower that calorie count and shave off some calories. The other thing to think about is, how am I burning calories? So once you start introducing physical activity into your life, now you don't have to cut so much out of your food because you are burning calories. So it's always about a burn or a takeaway. So when you're going for that 500 calories a day, think about either burning it or taking it out of your food options of what it is you're doing, or do both, right? If you do both, then you don't feel like you have to overexert anything, but you also feel like you don't have to cut all the fun things out of your life, all right? So the key here, and this is what brings me to the takeaway of all these steps, the key here is, instead of jumping all the way to some magical number that you find on Google, instead of thinking from working that way and then changing all your habits leading up to where you are now, think of it the other way, right? Start with where you are now. Start to figure out, oh, I typically eat this many calories a day. I need to start to cut it down a little bit at a time, inching your way to your 1,800 calories or your 1,600 calories, whatever it is your calorie count should be. So it's about working back and then working down to that number rather than worrying about a number. Here's what I'll tell you. You might get down, you might think that you have to get to 1,600, but by the time you get to 1,800 calories, by inching yourself down slowly, that might be your happy place. You might be like, oh my God, I can maintain this weight. This weight makes me happy. I feel healthy. I feel like I can still enjoy what I want to enjoy. And that's a great experience. If you cut it down all the way to 16, 13, 12, whatever it is you're doing, you might find unhappiness there. And unhappiness leads to giving up or stopping, feeling failure, feeling like you're not doing enough or being enough or whatever it is, and depression. I mean, it leads to all of those things that are no good. Finding yourself a little bit at a time, feeling that success weekly and daily rather than over just a quick 30-day experience or whatever it is, you're going to find more out of what you're trying to experience. Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. I hope that you found this information helpful, a new perspective. Here's the reality. If we're always going from the same perspective every single time and we're not finding results from it, you got to change your perspective. So think about weight loss in a different way. Think about that inching it towards your goal rather than trying to jump the line right away. I promise you'll find more success and you'll find more realizations about yourself along the way, which will always last longer. All right, guys, thanks for following along today. Again, check out my website if you have any questions, thoughts, or you just want to hear from me on a weekly basis. I'm going to have a lot of great programs coming out and also some free content for you to enjoy. So check out the website. Make sure that you sign up. And yeah, thanks for joining me for this episode. There'll be more to come. So definitely subscribe to the channel and like this video, especially if it was helpful. And we'll do this again next week. See you then.